It never gets old. The first 30 seconds of a life is always going to be like this. Wish I could do something to make that easier. But welcome to Tea Practice today. Happy Saturday. We're going to be doing something a little bit interesting today. I mean, we always do, but we'll be trying to brew Gyokuro with sparkling water. And I've never done this before, but this is inspired by all the success we've had during the cold brew challenge earlier this month to, use sparkling water to brew tea. And, I haven't used a lot of sparkling water, in tea making. We did the La Croix experiment where we tried to make matcha with La Croix. We also tried making high mountain tea in La Croix. And then we also had a lot of success brewing tea directly inside the bottle of cold brew, of sparkling water, to get it to be like more poppy, more tart, more interesting. So I'm really happy with the amount of success we've had so far with the the sparkling water. Man, I don't use sparkling water that much with sparkling water. So I would like to try to extend that success, see if we can keep, being just as fortunate with our experiments by trying to brew Gyokuro in slightly heated San Pellegrino. So I've never done this before. This is a new thing for us, but I was thinking, we could try to heat the San Pellegrino just enough for it to not lose its sparkle, because if you try to heat it up too much, it loses quite a bit of the carbonation. So we don't want that to happen. We did try heating up La Croix in our kettle before, and it does keep a little bit of carbonation, but not as much as I would like. So I was thinking, okay, how do we heat this up without getting it too hot, and which tea will match the best with a lower temperature heat, and that's Gyokuro. So that's how we got the idea for this experiment. So as we set up, let us know what you guys are drinking, and let us know how you guys' weeks are. It's nice to see you guys. I'm sorry if I seem kind of tired on today's stream. We've been trying to do our tea life and then also our life recently. I just turned 27, so just from last week, I'm a year older, so you gotta like bear with me a little bit. I'm a geezer now, right? And then right now, Steven is a full 2 years younger than I am. Can you believe that? Oh my god, I'm such a cradle robber. But actually tomorrow, Steven again becomes just 1 year younger than me because his birthday is tomorrow. So Steven and I's birthdays are only 1 week apart, and then our anniversary is another week after Steven's. So we did that on purpose. That's how I designed the universe. I want a boyfriend whose week is right after mine, so we can all celebrate the same things on the same week. Just pay for one dinner, pay for one gift. It's really great. Let me say hello to our friends coming in. Jeremy, it's nice to see you. Claire, Mel, nice to see you too. Steep Leaf Shop, Ronan, it's nice to see you. It's been a little bit. Joshua and Eric, welcome. Apathy, it's nice to see you too. Yeah. Then let me try pinning this. Can I pin this? Yeah. Let's pin Steven's comments so we know exactly what we're doing. And yeah. Let us know what you guys are drinking. And then we'll get started on this experiment. So, as always, we're setting up our experiment to have a side-by-side. What we wanted to do is test out Gyokuro brewed at 60 degrees Celsius, or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and then 70 degrees Celsius, around 158 degrees Fahrenheit. So a little bit hotter than a little bit cooler. So let's just keep track of this. The one here is going to be the 60 degrees Celsius, or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. A very common temperature for Gyokuro to be brewed at. And then on the right is going to be the Gyokuro that's brewed at 70 degrees Celsius, 158 degrees Fahrenheit, a little bit higher than a lot of people brew Gyokuro, but still a pretty common temperature. Let us know what you guys usually do with your Gyokuro. I actually try to brew my Gyokuro a little bit higher than normal. I do like that really silky, buttery umami thing that goes on when you brew at really, really low temperatures, but I find that a really good gyo will have umami even at a higher temperature. I just like having that balance. The whole like really, really rich, buttery, umami bomb Gyokuro is like a special occasion thing for me. So that's why I decided to have two temperatures to see if we have success more on one end or another. And why we do this, it's not just for, crapping about and playing with our teas. Of course, it's part of it too. But the more that we can test these unusual techniques that we might have not thought about before, we might find ways to prepare the tea in an interesting way, in a way that brings out something that wasn't in the tea before. So while I'm totally traditionalist, I know that our lives make me look like I'm always doing this random shit all the time. Honestly, we don't do this on most days except for Saturdays, because we really do like just straight up good tea. But I think this is really important to do, because if we don't push the boundaries, we get stuck. And guess what? The tea masters that we look up to so much, they were the ones who were pushing the boundaries before as well. You just think about like Taiwan. People are like, why would you want to make tea up in the mountains? It's so far away. It's going to take a long time to get up there. The tea doesn't grow that well up there. And then some person was like, yo, let's just try it out. And then they were the crazy ones back then. And then now Taiwan is full of high mountain tea. So the things that we think are traditional are the result of someone at some point being really crazy and pushing the boundaries a little bit. Think about shopor. Someone is like, shopor takes too long to age. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna try to accelerate it. And then we got shopor. Because shopor was only developed in the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. So if you feel a little bit weird doing this kind of stuff, don't feel bad about it. Push the boundaries, see what can happen, and the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work, and then it's just something you can kind of check off in your brain that you can revisit again in the future, but may or may not work. And but we do have some success in the past with heating up carbonated water. The idea was that if you heat it up even a little bit, all the carbonation would go away, but that's not what I've experienced. I've seen that it actually keeps a little bit of carbonation even with relatively high temperatures. So hopefully it goes well today. Yeah. And then again, for those of you coming in, we're about to test out this sparkling water, heated to just a little bit, 60 degrees Celsius, 70 degrees Celsius. We're testing 2 temperatures. We'll see if it works out with brewing Gyokuro. And I think, Steven, you were the one who thought about this, right? Was it me or you? I forgot. Maybe it was me. But my initial thought was like, do I really want sparkling Gyokuro? It's like, do I want sparkling butter? And I'm like, no, but maybe yes. Let's see. Let's see if it's gonna pan out. Oh man. Seeking Neon Buddha, welcome. Nicholas from Tea Traveler, it's nice to see you. I hope you're having a good late evening over there. And then, yeah, let us know what you guys are drinking on this lovely Saturday. It's always nice to see you guys. Yeah. Okay, so I just heated it up just a little bit. That's what I did just now. I'm not heating it up too much because inside this kettle is already sparkling water. So side by sides, same ceramic bowl. We're gonna use a spoon to kind of pick up the tea, smell it, be able to like kind of play with the leaves if we want to. And then I've weighed out 3 grams each of Gyokuro. This Gyokuro is a Samidori Gyokuro from Thé du Japon. Thé du Japon? Thé du Japon. Oui, okay. And they're amazing. Oh my god. I've talked about them before, but Thé du Japon is amazing. I haven't had a bad tea from them. So I really highly recommend them for Japanese teas. And this one is from Uji, Kyoto Nabe. Yeah. Yep. It's also a 2-year-old Gyokuro. If anyone wants to burn down my house for having aged green tea on the stream, you may, but then I'll be too busy drinking really good tea. Okie dokie, so let's put these guys in. 3 grams here, and then another 3 grams here. When you do these side by sides, not only should you use a scale to make sure that your tea is evenly weighted, I also want you to make sure that the leaf material in the bowls looks about the same. And what I mean is, especially when you have a packet that's kind of like, there's not much left, at the very bottom there's dust. So I want you to make sure that when you put it in, one doesn't have more dust than the other. So don't rely just on the scale, rely on your eyes as well. You know, if it looks like there's a lot of big leaves here and a lot of dust there, you're not going to get an even experiment. So just be sure you don't just rely on the scale. Make sure that they look about even too, and I made sure they look about even. This can happen with Taiwanese oolong too, where one might have a lot of stem and then the other one doesn't have a lot of stem. Or with black tea, where one has a lot of dust and the other one has bigger leaves, you're going to get an uneven experiment there. And as usual, we can't control everything in the tea universe when it comes to our experiments, but the more we can, the better. So let's just try that out. Let's have a smell. So this is warmed. My favorite underrated tea experience is smelling the cup after the dry cup has been warmed, but it's not wet on the inside. Oh my goodness, that smells super good. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says about aged green tea, that smells amazing. Gyokuro, by the way, is usually rested for a little bit of time before it's released to us in the market. So the concept of like extremely fresh Gyokuro is actually foreign in Japan to Japanese producers, because it's meant to rest for a little bit before you actually drink it. So this is why I'm not scared of aging Japanese green teas that are higher quality, because some of them will actually age extremely well. They'll develop more sweetness, more umami. Really lovely. Yeah, it smells really good. Buttery, floral. It's actually a very light Gyokuro. Yeah, it's not as intense as some Gyokuro can be, which is why I actually like this Gyokuro. I like intense Gyokuro, but not too much. I don't wanna like drown in butter. Not all the time. Let's start this out. Let's make sure we get our temperature back up to speed. We're at 58 degrees Celsius. Let's push it up just a little bit more. So for those of you coming in, we will brew this Gyokuro at 60 degrees Celsius and then again at 70 degrees Celsius with San Pellegrino. Hoping that at this temperature the carbonation hasn't escaped enough. Hopefully it's going to hold some sparkle. Let's see. And then also there's the composition of the water as well. San Pellegrino is a very hard water, from what I remember. Usually these carbonated mineral waters are very hard, and that means that there's more minerals in there. It doesn't tell me what the TDS is, but I think these are super hard. They're really, really hard. So they're quite heavy. Usually not good for tea, but so far with cold brew, it's been going well. So let's see. So 60 degrees Celsius, 70 degrees Celsius. And then I will try to pour the exact same way. I'm going to try to pour it really, really soft on the side of the cup. So this is how I usually brew Gyokuro. So if you're wondering why I'm opting to use a bowl, it's because I don't want the vessel to play a part in the way that the tea brews. I want to kind of have a nice side-by-side. So unless you have two identical Kyusus, let's say, yeah, I'll show you guys in a little bit. If you have two identical Kyusus, you can probably do a side-by-side with the Kyusus, but I don't have two identical Kyusus, so I'll use bowls. And then we're gonna put this temperature up to 70 degrees Celsius or 158 degrees Fahrenheit. And why we're doing two is there's going to be a different kind of flavor profile extracted at each type. 60 degrees Celsius will extract a little bit more theanine by ratio, and then the 70 degrees Celsius will extract a little bit more polyphenol by ratio. And just in my mind, when I think theanine, it's like umami, buttery, soft, kind of like rich. And then in my mind, when I hear polyphenol, just as a, generalization, polyphenol is more bittersweets and floral and more structure. Like when you say structure, it means like there's stuff going on inside the mouth. If you think about it, when you brew Gyokuro at 40 degrees Celsius or 60 degrees Celsius, God, my American brain, 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, it's very buttery, but there's not a lot of like textural interest going on besides the buttery. It's just like smooth, but there's no minerality, there's no sharpness. That's because there's very little polyphenol in that brew, in my mind, and that's enough for me. I'm not a tea scientist. I'm not an official tea scientist, but that's enough for me to understand what's going on. So we're gonna do this, and then this has been brewed, this has been heated up to 70 degrees Celsius. This is the second one. I'm going to try to pour the same way because the pour will influence the way the tea comes out. So pouring on the side for the first couple seconds. Then afterwards I'm going to start swirling around because you don't want the tea on just one side to be exposed to that kind of like swirling action. It's a very gentle brew. But already, because of the hotter temperature of this water, I'm seeing that this particular bowl, if you look at the way that the leaves have settled, it's different, right? You see that there's like a little lake here of water exposed, and this one's completely kind of flat. And I really do think I poured about the same way. What's happening is that because the water has more kind of like fizzing energy because of it being hotter, the leaves have been jostled a little bit more physically, meaning like you move them a little bit more. It's like boiling something. When you boil like a stock, all the vegetables and bones are kind of bubbling in the stock. The same thing is happening with slightly hotter water. The leaves will just always move a little bit more, I think, because of that movement in the water itself. Okay, so let's see if we can smell. Smells like not much. That smells a lot stronger. Wow, that smells like seaweed. That smells like sushi right there. I'm getting excited. I like sushi, so let's see. So we'll start by testing this one because it was the one that we brewed first, and then we're going to go on to this one. Now, number one, we're going to see if this at all kept any of the sparkle from the San Pellegrino. From our previous experiments, La Croix that we went to like around 90 degrees Celsius, kept some sparkle, so hopefully. Yeah, let's see. And then Eco de Trave, I'm trying to put this here because I forgot that people might not know what we're doing. San Pellegrino today. All right. Ooh, it's very bouncy looking. I'm scared and excited. Yeah. I'm going to do that to both. I'll do that to that later. Anything that you do to one cup, make sure you do it to the other cup too. What I'm doing here is I'm just trying to get some space for me to get some tea. It's very dense. So let's try this first one. Oh my god, I've never tasted anything like that before. What is going on? Wow, okay, that's really different. I don't even know what I'm tasting right now. Steven, you gotta taste this. I don't even know what this is or how to explain it. Wow, I don't hate it, but it's odd. Like, give me a second to like think about how to explain this. It's the first thing I can think of. It's very, very fresh tasting and very crisp tasting, which is not what you expect from Gyokuro, but there is like an umami component as well. The first thing I can think of is, I mean, in terms of imagery, is like being in a forest after it rains with like lots of mushrooms, because there's just so much potency. It's a very strong flavor, but there's a freshness to it and also an earthiness to it at the same time. I really like it, actually. Wow, that's really interesting. Steven, can you help me decode this? This is crazy. I can't believe that came out from that. Very different from what you'd expect from a Gyokuro. If someone served you Gyokuro like this, you might be really confused. But it's really tasty. I'm just confused because I've never had that taste from a tea before. Right, Steven? Isn't that weird? I wouldn't say I don't like it though. Steven's making faces.
Got a lot of leaf.
Hurry, I want to taste the other one too, Steven. So for those of you coming in, again, we're trying to see if San Pellegrino will successfully infuse with Gyokuro with the sparkle in it. There is a little bit of sparkle, I think, that I get from it still, but not very much. What I get more is that kind of like acidic taste that is naturally in sparkling water. Because of it's more acidic than regular water because of the carbonation. Let's try this out. So this is now, we're going to go a little bit hotter. So same tea, same pour, same brewing technique, same everything. The only difference, it's still sparkling water, but we brewed it at a slightly higher temperature. So I think this, I'm gonna guess this will actually turn out better than this, because what I'm getting right now isn't so much of the umami, which is why you drop the temperature. What I'm getting is more of the really fascinating, complex, crisp, running around in the forest after it rains kind of flavor. And I feel like the hotter temperature will bring that out just a little bit better. Oh my god, what the heck? Wow, that's really good. Wow, okay. I did not expect that Gyokuro could do that. Holy crap. What is going on in my mouth? What is going on? Wow. This is really good. Oh my gosh. This is definitely better than the 60-degree one. Because we're not talking about umami anymore here. The umami is not a factor here, I would say, Steven, right? It's not very umami at all. It's not very buttery. It's not very savory. It's not the stuff that you'd expect from Gyokuro. It's a completely different experience. There is a different kind of umami, though. It's almost like miso soup kind of umami. Like earthy, fermenty, funky, weird, kind of tart. Very different. Wow, oh my god, that's like soup. Try this, Steven. Wow. I don't know, where do we put that though? That's like a soup. That tastes like a soup that I would find. So the first thing that comes to mind is the chicken soup that's famous in Din Tai Fung in Taipei. So they do this soup that is really kind of like weird looking because it's just chicken that they've somehow made a broth out of to try to get the chicken essence out of it. But when you drink it, it's like essence of chicken. Now that's like essence of Gyokuro. It's like it's so hearty, it's so full, it's super delicious and very, very different. Like I wouldn't be surprised if someone served this to me in a really, really fancy restaurant in a tiny soup bowl. I would not be disappointed. There's just so much going on here. It's insane. I don't know if it's the sparkling water or if it's because of the mineral content or what, or the fact that it's acidic. I don't know what's going on, but it's really delicious. It's crazy. Wow, I'm stunned. This is crazy. Holy crap. It's like a culinary ingredient. This is insane. Wow. I'm really shocked. Holy crap. Okay, so for those of you who want to try this out, I would really like you to just be open-minded about what you expect from this, because you may or may not like it, but I personally like stuff that challenges what I've tasted before. And as much as I love my favorites, I don't think I am fulfilled in my tea life until I try something new once in a while. I want to taste something that makes me go, what the fuck? I want to go, what the fuck is that? In a good way, in a bad way. And this is a good way, I would say. Would you say, Stephen?
Yeah.
It's very fascinating. How do you describe this? I'm having a difficult time describing this. And again, I'm not a big tasting notes person, but if you force me to, I will put tasting notes out. I used to taste tea for a living and write the notes, so sometimes if you are online, some of those tasting notes are actually written by me. But I'm having a very difficult time putting this into words. So if you are the kind of person who wants something different from your tea, I think you would really enjoy this. So Seeking Neon Buddha, think about that when you get your sparkling water tomorrow. I would start first with a sparkling cold brew, just to get yourself used to the taste of tea in cold brew, in sparkling water. It's a different flavor. But this is super interesting. There's an aftertaste to it too. Wow. That's crazy. I'm just saying, people would put this on a menu for like $25 in like a really fancy restaurant where they cut a very, very thin slice of radish and put it on top just to garnish it. Wouldn't you say? Isn't it crazy? Wow. I can imagine this being really good with pesto. I can imagine this being really good as a broth. It's really good. Wow. Holy crap. I've never had anything like this before. That's crazy. And I've been drinking tea for about 12 years now, so when something is new to me, that's really fascinating. Wow. Let's go back to the 60-degree water. I'm glad we did a side-by-side like this. This is why we want to test different temperatures, because the same technique, which is a slightly different temperature, slightly different pouring style, slightly different teaware choice, will hugely affect the outcome. And if you just gave me the 60 degrees, I'd be like, oh, it was interesting. I don't know if I'd do it again. But the 70-degree preparation is extremely compelling. It's just so interesting. Oh my god, it's wow. And I also like it when I make a tea come out that makes me feel like, wow, I could have paid like $30 to experience that in a restaurant. That's why you should do this kind of stuff. Because sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes you're like, yo, they would have charged me like $30 for this in a tasting menu. That's really odd, yeah. So compared to this is not as much of a match. So the 60 degrees Celsius preparation does play a little bit more with the savory umami stuff you want to get from the Gyokuro. It doesn't match what is so good about this preparation. So again, a sparkling water is a little bit more acidic and has a tart taste to it, which is why it's so crisp and great for mixology and stuff. So that acid taste doesn't really go well with the umami taste that comes from Gyokuro at this temperature. Hotter, you have more of the polyphenol being extracted from the tea. Polyphenol meaning, again, bitterness and a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of floral. Like bittersweetness is what I associate polyphenol with. It's what makes tea taste really fascinating if you have enough of it, but it has to be at a certain balance with the theanine. So I want to tell you this because I want you to be able to know exactly what is happening when you play with the temperatures. And here, hotter means a little bit more polyphenol, about the same amount theanine, but the ratio is what we're looking at. The ratio of polyphenol goes up. So the bittersweetness goes up, the floral goes up, the kind of foresty, sharp, crisp flavors go up also. Mineral flavors go up. So that just tastes like running around in the forest in the rain for me. But a Japanese forest? I don't know what a Japanese forest smells like. I mean, it's a Japanese tea, so I imagine. Oh my god, that's crazy! Wow! I had to stop mid-laugh, that's just insane. Now it tastes more like cabbage, but in a good way, like a really, really high quality cabbage soup. That's incredibly interesting. Wow. Any questions, let us know. That's crazy. Leaves in Hot Water, welcome. Wolf450 and KO. Henrique, it's nice to see you. Luke CF, welcome. Zizipu, how's it going as well? And KO, what about 84 degrees Fahrenheit? Fahrenheit or Celsius? Or, because 84 degrees Fahrenheit is quite low. I think that would be a little bit too low for brewing this at. But cold brew, cold brewed San Pellegrino is really, really, really good. So Ronan, that's why we chose the San Pellegrino, is we had a lot of luck with San Pellegrino and our cold brew experiments in the past. We've tried it with Silver Needle, we've tried it with Darjeeling, just really, really tasty. But I don't know if a different sparkling water would have been better, but we're gonna do one of those tests later in September where we will do a side-by-side of San Pellegrino, Perrier, and then I think Topo Chico is what we'll do. If there's another sparkling water you think you'd like for us to test, let us know. But I want to figure out which sparkling water works the best. And then I just realized this today, I want to make a formula that allows us to make sparkling water at home using our DIY water recipe. Because Steven walked in with the plastic bottles of San Pellegrino. We've been getting glass, but they ran out of glass at the store. And immediately I was like, plastic again? So in the future, we will try to develop a formula for us to be able to make amazing sparkling water at home. That'll take a while, but we'll get to it. We always get to it. Yeah, we don't always do it in a timely manner, but we always get to it. NKO, 84 degrees Celsius. Should we try it out, Stephen?
Sure.
Yeah, let's try it out right now. So we got a little bit more San Pellegrino in the kettle. Let's see if we can push it up to 84 degrees Celsius. Can I do 85? And I'll do 85. Just so we have like a nice even kind of stopping point. 85 degrees Celsius. So we will up the temperature by 15 degrees to see if it does better. I do have a little bit more Gyokuro left, so. And why not? I don't know. I just didn't think to go up that high. I thought the 70 degrees would be good enough for us to figure out which direction to go. So at least from the side by side, you can kind of tell, do I want to go hotter, do I want to go colder? I don't want to go colder. I want to go hotter. I think that it might be worth it to try to cold brew Gyokuro in San Pellegrino, but the flavor you'll get will be different than this hot preparation. So let's try it out. Yeah. We have enough Gyokuro. See? I even have one already ready. Ha! I made a third batch because I was supposed to do a regular water for the Gyokuro first to see what it tasted like just by itself. But we forgot because we just got so excited, so we put San Pellegrino in the kettle already. Ha! Okay, so we will put this into a different bowl. So I'm going to dump the 60-degree Celsius Gyokuro. Let's give it one more taste. Yeah, it's not as good as the 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Just not enough complexity for me. I think it's interesting, but not my favorite. Still very interesting. Yeah, still interesting, but the hotter one is better. You know how like something could be really decent, but when you put it next to something that's amazing, it's not that decent anymore. That's what happened to that. Alrighty. Let us just rinse this out. I've never rinsed teaware with sparkling water before. It's a first for everything, right? For those of you joining us, as we set up this third bit of the experiment, let us know what you guys are drinking right now. And yeah, we will get this third setup of the sparkling water with Gyokuro set up. You know, I will say, I am not sure if there's any sparkle left in the 70 degrees Celsius water. Do you think there is? Like a tiny bit,
Check
maybe?
it out of the kettle.
Oh yeah, I should do that. Yeah.
Although now it's up to, what, 85?
Yeah. So let's taste it. That's something we should have done at the very beginning, actually, is to taste the water as it is. So if you're doing this experiment, do it, okay? I feel like there is. Yeah, there's a sensation of carbonation. Whether or not it's still carbonated, I'm not sure, but it still tastes to me like sparkling water. Try it, Stephen. There's like a little tingle on the tongue. It's not as sparkly as it is when it's cold, but I still get it. Do you get it?
A little bit.
A little bit, right? Enough. Tea is so subtle that the slightest, influence of anything will make the change happen, which is why it's nice to do these experiments. So even if just a tiny bit of carbonation left, or even the hint, the idea of it being carbonated, just a little bit of a hint, it's still worth it. Okay, let's try this out. So, Ankeo, thank you for letting us know about this. I think this will be a good experiment to do. I'm interested to see what happens. So we will brew it the exact same way as we did the first and second time. So pouring just on the edge of the cup. Because if I just pour directly on the leaves from the very beginning, we're going to have a different result, right? And then I'm just pouring over the rest of the leaves. I'm actually pouring a little bit faster than I did the last couple times, but it's because I'm excited. We tried our best though. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of movement going on there because of the water being hotter. Let's see how it goes. While I wait for that, I'm going to keep drinking this really interesting Gyokuro. If you guys are going to do this, I would say you don't need 3 grams in this much water. I get like a smaller cup and try just a tiny bit of it because it's so intense. What is going on my palate? Wow. What is that? Yeah, if I see something on the menu that's like kohlrabi puree with essence of horseradish on a bed of something, like something really fancy is what I think about when I drink this. I've never been to a Michelin star restaurant, but wait, does Din Tai Fung have a Michelin star?
I don't know.
Actually, it might. Does anyone know this? Does Din Tai Fung have a Michelin star? In which case, we've been to a Michelin star restaurant. I watch a lot of like food shows, but so this to me makes me imagine what is probably being served in a tasting menu like that.
They do.
They do? Wow, so we've been to a Michelin star
It's
restaurant.
the first for a restaurant from Taiwan.
Wow. Yeah.
2010.
It's a long time ago.
Ooh, wait, that's Hong Kong's branch.
Hong Kong's branch? That doesn't make any sense. The Taipei one is the original one. Yeah, and let me rinse my water out.
That's why they say it's a restaurant from Taiwan, because it's Hong Kong's branch.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. Wait, so the Hong Kong branch has a Michelin star, but the Taipei one doesn't? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm looking.
Yeah, that's really tasty, actually. There's not as much carbonation. There's a tiny bit, though. A little bit of a sparkle. So I'm just having some water to clear out before having the 85 degrees Celsius one. And KO, helping me out with my experiments. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Sometimes I forget. Alright, let's try it out. Mel, yeah, I think I deserve a Michelin star just for that. It's really tasty. But also not the kind of thing you want to just chug, which I think is very Michelin as well. Because you don't want to have Din Tai Fung every day, do you? I wouldn't want to have that every day. It's a little bit too perfect. Din Tai Fung in Taipei is amazing, by the way. So if you guys like Din Tai Fung in America, Din Tai Fung, for those of you who haven't been to one, is a really famous dim sum restaurant from Taiwan that you can also find in America. Yeah. Okay, alright. Something different as well. What is going on? I don't know if I like this as much as the other one. Just some initial try. Whew, wow, okay, that's intense. Holy crap. Alright. Wow. I wanna throw this on someone that I don't like because it's so intense. But not in a bad way. It's just really intense. It's almost like holy water but tea. Like, it's good, but you could probably exercise someone with it. Like, if you're a good person, you're not gonna die. But if you're a demon, you will die from this because it's so intense. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about why we upped the temperature. 60 degrees Celsius, 70 degrees Celsius, and now 85 degrees Celsius. This is the hottest temperature we've done today. It's the highest amount of polyphenol, right? So more polyphenol means more bitterness, more complexity, more oomph. There's a lot of oomph in this. And remember, most Gyokuro you don't really, push up towards the higher ends of the temperature spectrum, but I actually brew Gyokuro pretty hard because I like the intensity of it if it's a good one. Whoa, that's like, I want to bottle that up, and in case someone bothers me, I'll just throw them in one. Wow, that's really intense. That's a little bit too intense, I would say. That's not as enjoyable as this one. But I think if you water it down a little bit, it's very, very strong. That's like essence of Gyokuro times 2. Steven, I'm interested to see what you have to say. Yeah, I do like it better than the 60 degrees. I don't think I like it as much as the 70 degrees. So I think the 70 degrees Celsius is our sweet spot for this experiment.
Agree.
But this is not as... I like it better than the 60. So why that's true is more of that really fascinating foresty stuff is coming out. But just a tiny bit too intense for it to be enjoyable. It's challenging in a good way. I'm still happy that I tried it. It's still better than the 60 degrees Celsius. Oh my gosh. That though, what I would like to do is I want to make onigiri with that. That's so delicious. So this, I would say, is definitely like a culinary ingredient. I think this is like a culinary ingredient. We should make a broth out of this. I think after this, oh my god, you know what I gotta do? I gotta make ochazuke with this. It's gonna be amazing.
There you
go.
go.
My god, I'm really excited. So after this, if you guys haven't heard of it yet, there's a Japanese tea rice dish called ochazuke, which means just you submerge it in tea. You submerge the rice in tea. And even a very subtle tea will come out in that dish because it's so simple. It's just rice with a little bit of tea and a little bit of toppings on it. So I find it to be very tea forward. But this is so strong and bold. I think it's gonna make a really fucking delicious ochazuke. Oh my god. I am really interested to see what happens. Wow. Steven, go get the rice right now. Yeah, seriously, go get the rice right now. Why? What's the problem? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you might as well go right. Yeah, I'm gonna go have Steve go fetch some rice.
I'll just go get some rice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, go get some rice. What's just happening here right now? So when you do this as well, think about the possibilities that you can do with what you're tasting. Don't just look at it from like a straightforward perspective. Think about making it into a drink, or making it to like ice cubes, or putting it in ochazuke, thinking about culinary applications for it. By the way, this is not bitter. It's not bitter. So I'm saying it's intense, but it's not bitter at all whatsoever. No bitterness. Maybe a little bit, but it's not that kind of like horrible bitterness. It's just a tiny bit. But it's still pleasant. I'm not just doing it for the Instagram like, oh, it's so delicious, but inside it's so bitter. It's actually not bitter. And what's happening is we're using a really good gyokuro. So even with the amount of tea and the kind of torturous brewing style, like, can you imagine? I've been letting these leaves sit in the water for quite a long time. This is why we do bowl brewing. A really, really good tea will not become bitter or astringent when you brew it in a strange or kind of abusive way. If you try to brew a just okay gyokuro like this for long periods of time, hotter temperature, in a bowl, kind of like sloshing it back and forth, you're going to extract a lot of bitterness. It's going to be really, really, really unpleasant. So if you're going to do this bowl brew style to test, you need a good tea. You can probably pull it off with a mid to low grade gyokuro if you just decant it, like with a kyusu or a gaiwan. That's really delicious. Wow. So MKO, yeah, it's I think if you can adjust the amount of tea with a lower quality tea, it might still come out. But this is why we use the exact same 3 grams of tea. 3 grams of tea for every single round. So yes, it's a lot of tea, but every single time it's about the same amount of tea. Not about, it's the same amount of tea.
Thank you, Steven.
Steven sounds great. Okay, so cool. This became an ochazuke experiment without me noticing. You ready for to stay up all night, Steven? So ochazuke. Let us see what happens. Yeah, Shiloh, it's nice to see you. Shiloh is also one of the people who we were hopping on the San Pellegrino bandwagon with this month. It hasn't even been a month yet. So what I'm doing here is making ochazuke, sort of. Just a very on the fly ochazuke. It's tea submerged rice. So you just pour tea over the top of the rice. You can do this with old rice even. The origins of this dish is with old rice from the day before, because it helps you kind of rescue old rice, cold rice, to make it a little bit warmer for the next morning. So even if it's a little bit hardened, not as fresh, putting tea over it would help you kind of salvage it. It's a very resourceful dish. And yeah, Steven, can I get the ochazuke box? We have an ochazuke box. It's one of my favorite, just at the tea table snacks, because it's so easy to make. We're almost done making it. It's the blue box. Or the green box? Yeah, the green box. Thank you! We have made Gyokuro ochazuke before. But let's see if it goes better this time. So I'm going to put a little bit furikake on top. How did this become an ochazuke experiment, Steven? So funny. And then we're pretty much done. Yeah. Okay. Yep, that's about as much as I want. So let's see if it goes well. So the reason why I decided to put this here is because it was so intense that I think it's going to stand up well to the rice. Oh my god. That's heavenly. Wow. That's really good. Oh my god. Let me eating this with chopsticks. It's so tasty. Mmm. Wow. Steven should try that. Steven doesn't really like ochasuke, but that's really tasty. That's delicious. That's, wow. That is one of the most delicious rice things I've ever eaten. It's just so, wow. Wow. Okay. We went really far today. Yeah. If you put this into context, we're having ochasuke with Gyokuro brewed with San Pellegrino. It's such a hop, skip, and a jump. Oh my goodness, we're going so far. Would this work with regular Gyokuro over the rice? Yes, but the flavor would be a little bit different. What I like about the San Pellegrino with the Gyokuro is that acidity from the San Pellegrino works really, really well with the kind of, I mean, I've never called the Gyokuro funky, but the funky side of the Gyokuro comes out. It's a little bit more earthy, a little bit more mushroomy. It's not so buttery, and more of that umami that you get from mushrooms, which is why it works so well with ochasuke. Holy crap, that's crazy. I don't even know what's going on with my palate or where this experiment has taken us. It's not where I expected. But that's why we do this, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I did not expect that to happen. Yeah, let's put a little bit of the Gyokuro on. So you can put the Gyokuro on directly. That's gonna make, yeah, instead of having an energy drink, just put some Gyokuro on your rice. And then, hey Steven, can you hand me the sea salt? Yeah, we have sea salt here because that's our favorite seasoning. So, wow, we're so extra. Maldon sea salt. Maldon? No, I'll just call it Maldon because it sounds more fancy that way. So these crystals are, gosh, I wish I could show you these. Yeah. These crystals are quite large for sea salts. So these are like a crystalline structure that they have to get from like the coast. I think it's called, the town is called Maldon in the UK, and it gives stuff crunchiness without it having to be breadcrumbs. So salty, crunchy. Let's see if we get somewhere with that combination. We're so dumb, but okay, this is really fun. I'm having the time of my life right now. Wow. Okay. Wow. Can I quit tea and just open up like a... That's really delicious. Steven, try this out. Wow. That just needs a little bit of soy sauce, I would say. Wow. That's stupid. Yeah, this is not where I expected us to go today, you guys, but this has really been fascinating. So to wrap things up, I think I've hit the limit of my brain being blown by everything we've learned today. San Pellegrino can apparently be heated up to about maybe 60 to 70 degrees Celsius before really losing a lot of the carbonation. Yeah, and my favorite application for it is at the 70 degree level. It keeps a little bit of that sparkling. I'm not sure if it's actual carbon, carbonation that's happening, or just a sensation of it, but you still get the carbonation feeling at that level, and it makes the Gyokuro taste extremely different. It's like a run through the forest, mushrooms and rain and like trees and earthiness and funkiness, and a little bit like that petrichor smell is what I get a little bit from this combination, which is really odd, but it's the only way I can think about trying to explain this. And it's still so brothy and essency, but we're so used to having the essence of Gyokuro come out with regular water that's like buttery and creamy and brothy. This is a very different kind of brothy. So would I do this a lot? Probably not. Would I do it once a year, once every 2 years, just to like freak myself out a little bit? Yeah, I would absolutely do it. I'd like for you to consider this kind of like going to a tasting course, a flight at like a really nice restaurant. You're not really there to nosh on some really delicious, filling food. You just go to like the corner, like our favorite Taiwanese restaurant on the corner, like Mr. Chopsticks, and have some orange chicken with amazing rice, and call it a day. This is like going to a restaurant where they've kind of labored over figuring out how to pull interesting flavors from an ingredient that you've never had before. So it's going to make you go, wow! And then afterwards, you're going to want to have some ramen because you want something a little bit more familiar to you. But it's super fascinating and super worth it. I'm interested for you guys to try this. Please do try this if you can. If you have the stomach for something that's a little bit weird. I think we need to develop that in ourselves to be able to accept stuff that is a little bit off the beaten track. Because if we stay too much on course, always stay traditional, always do the same things, we're not going to progress, you know? So try it out. And don't be afraid of what happens. If you don't like it, that's fine too. Like, don't make yourself like it because Ree said it was good. I want you to be able to find your results. Tell me what you thought about your experiments as well. We gotta trade notes. Not everyone's gonna like it. God, not everyone's gonna like this. But Steven, would you say you liked it?
More with the salt in it, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the... I'm not talking about the chasuke. I'm talking about the...
I did like, yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
Did you like it?
Water.
Okay, did you like it better as a rice dish or as an actual tea? The 70-degree one.
The 70-degree one was my favorite, yeah.
Okay.
I liked it. Probably better as the tea. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Well, you don't like ochazuke, so... But is it pretty good as ochazuke?
Yeah.
For ochazuke. Steven doesn't like ochazuke. So yeah, Shiloh, I think you're putting it really well. This introduces new concepts, and the more that we can challenge our brain, going back to the flavor library, now I have a very interesting book to put into my flavor library. It's a very interesting book. Gyokuro brewed with San Pellegrino at 70 degrees Celsius, and at 85 we put it over rice with sea salt. Oh my god. That makes me really happy. So, expand your flavor library. Go do it. Don't just listen to me. Go do it, okay? Have a wonderful Saturday wherever you guys might be. If you're watching the replay, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening. We will see you guys in September for more cold brew stuff. Schedule's gonna happen. Oh my god, we're not gonna have to be like, yo, in 5 minutes we're going live. September, look out for a schedule. Woohoo! We're going up, Steven. So goodbye, have a nice weekend. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful one. I'm gonna eat my ochazuke now. This is great. Bye!